Greetings, Internet, and welcome back to a very special episode. Today, if it wasn't obvious, it's my birthday. And so, to celebrate, my friends and I, we went out and we basically just did some random stuff. We've been getting kind of stir-crazy with all this nonsense about having to stay in our homes for like the last year and a half. And so today we were just like, the heck with it, we're going somewhere. We used my birthday as an excuse to actually get the heck out of the house, and we went and did stuff. So, one of the things we did was we went to a little, like, hole-in-the-wall kind of toy shop, I guess you'd call it, a collectibles store. That's the word for it. And I found some interesting things. Some things that I didn't think I would find, some things that I was just happy to see them, and a bunch of things that I actually procured. So, we're going to be talking about the things I actually bought. Alright, so we're not going to start with those things, because that's kind of... No, we are going to... Sorry, my head is just kind of frazzled right now, because I'm just happy that I was able to actually go out and do things again. Oh, by the way, I'm 32 now, so it's a 30-second candle on my cake. With that said, yeah, I'll just start showing you the things that I got today at the first place we went to. So at this first shop, the guy didn't have, well, he had a bunch of stuff, but he didn't have a lot in terms of like the retro and the old school toys, at least not on display on the shelves. But what he did have was a decent amount. A decent selection, I should say. So first thing that I saw when I walked in there was this display cabinet that just had like a bunch of random, more modern action figures, Funko Pops, and stuff. Oh, he also had a set of original Codename Kids Next Door action figures. Like, I don't know, obviously it wasn't a full set, but he had like a fair selection of them. He had a couple of number 1s, he had a number 2, number 5, I think he had a number 4. I could be wrong. He also had like a vehicle that had both the number 1s on it. And yes, in the show they call themselves Numba instead of Number. I guess they were just trying to be more cool and hip and stuff. Yeah, it was in a nice little glass case. Unfortunately, because, well, I don't want to take the risk of having someone get upset with me by recording things, and this was just kind of an impromptu, just spur of the moment, get out of the house kind of a thing. I didn't record any of this or take any pictures, so you'll have to theater of the mind all this stuff. And when we got beyond that area, there was a table over to the left of this, where he had a bunch of random action figures. Like at the front of it, it had some NECA Ghostbusters action figures, like he had the cab driver action figure, and he had a couple old school retro The Real Ghostbusters animated series figures. He had the Frankenstein, he had the zombie, which it looked like someone literally took a lighter to the top of his head. The part where it was supposed to be orange, like the brain or whatever, was a darker brown and all smudgy, as were the eyebrows, and like it just did not look good. But, as the guy pointed out, he's still smiling. And I was like, he sure is. And I put him back on the shelf. They had that, they had the Frankenstein from that, they had the Fright Features Egon. No, it wasn't Fright Features, the ones that wind-up feature where you would, like, plug a thing into their back, you'd wind their head, I think, and then you'd push a button and they'd go like, and then they'd, like, spin a top off of their back. He had the Egon from that set. And just a whole bunch of other stuff, and right next to those were a nice little small selection of Ninja Turtles, which regretfully, and I say this because, well, my collection has grown so big that it's hard to actually find stuff I don't have, but he had a selection of Ninja Turtles that 90% of I already had. I should say, no, 90% does account for it. He also had a No-Zone from the Toxic Crusaders, and the Toxic Crusaders Toxic Turf Surfer, I think that's what it's called. But anyway, he had a it was a reasonable price, but it was also just about the value of the toy. So unfortunately, I didn't get that because it was $130, and as much as I wanted to increase my collection of Toxic Crusaders, that wasn't happening for 130 bucks. But yeah, what else? So also on that table, he had a bunch of vintage Ninja Turtles, a couple of which I actually picked up. Now, the first one I picked up, well, no, this guy wasn't on the table. He was in one of the side rooms. But the first figure I picked up was this Rocksteady here. When I grabbed him, he didn't have a belt, but thankfully I happened to have a spare one here at the, I guess you'd call it the Ox Lair. I guess that's kind of a cool name for it. It's got a certain ring to it. But had a belt for him all ready to go here at the Ox Lair. And he is in surprisingly good condition for being, as old as he is. 33 years old, I believe. So I picked him up, and the main reason why I picked him up, even though I have kind of a glut of Bebops and Rocksteadies, is because I had one more Bebop than I had Rocksteadies. And for whatever reason, I've developed this kind of OCD about wanting there to be one Rocksteady for every Bebop that I have. And now I can say that I have a Bebop for every Rocksteady, and a Rocksteady for every Bebop. Now, this next vintage figure that I picked up, and by vintage I mean the 90s set, I have to clarify because now the 2002 series, 2003 series Ninja Turtle figures are falling into the realm of vintage. Because the early 2000s were over 20 years ago, and yeah. Anyway, from the 90s Ninja Turtle set, I got a figure that I already had, and that figure is Space Usagi Yojimbo. And I got him for one specific reason, and one reason only. Allow me to grab the one that I already had off the shelf over here, so I can greater illustrate why I bought this one. As you can see, the one I already had is missing a certain little something back here that I had to replace with a trash bag and or bread twisty. The one that I picked up actually has that piece. This is something I've never seen before in person. So I was finally able to upgrade my Space Usagi Yojimbo with a slightly better one, I think. Then again, I haven't actually done the whole inspecting them side by side, getting all in depth, like, okay, yes, the paint on this guy's head is in better condition than the paint on this one, and stuff like that. But I might actually wind up keeping both of them. Probably not, though, because, well, I have so many Ninja Turtles already, I don't need to start collecting more duplicates that are not variant figures. Because I am that kind of an imbecile that I just have so many Ninja Turtles. If any of you have seen that episode of Cat Dog, where Cat started collecting Mean Bob action figures, and by the end of it he basically went insane and got attacked by all the Mean Bobs in his collection, if that ever happened to me, I would be a dead man. They would find me with little ninja stars speckled all throughout my body, and samurai swords stuck in my eyes and my ears, and nunchucks wedged up my nose. It would not be a very, very nice scene to see. But regardless, so I picked up those two vintage figures, and then this other thing that I picked up that I forgot to get back off my shelf. I did my usual thing when I get new pieces for my collection, where I just immediately start putting them into the collection. But another piece that I picked up, which I think is pretty neat, and I believe this is the first one that I've been able to add to the collection, an original 1990 Michelangelo candy container topper. Like those cheap candy canes you get around Christmas, where it's got like the hollow plastic thing on top and the clear plastic tube with the candy in it. I believe this guy would have popped in on the top of one of those. And again, he's not in as good of condition as the other three. He's got a fair bit of dirt and stuff just ground into his face, and a bit grungy and mucky, but I suppose with just a little bit of elbow grease, he could be made not quite as good as new, but good enough. Okay, so moving on from the 90s Ninja Turtle stuff that I picked up, I just realized that I picked up things in threes at this particular shop. Moving on from the 90s Turtles, we move on to the 2003 series Turtles. And as just stated, I managed to pick up 3 different things. Now, some of you may be questioning my logic why I'm doing this on camera instead of waiting to show these off during during the appropriate Putting Shelves on Shelves episode, but I figure, it's my birthday, I do what I want. So, for these ones, I managed to pick up 3 different turtles. First piece I picked up was a Burger King Happy Meal toy of Michelangelo. Now this guy comes with a friction-powered skateboard accessory that if I were to put down, he would just kind of go like, ying, because I, pushed the skateboard. I've already got one of this guy, but the other one that I have is literally just the figure. The skateboard is completely missing. So I was able to upgrade that one for a very reasonable price, so I'm happy about that. He is in excellent condition. You would think something from 2003, or was this 2003? Yes, from 2003, the little kid played with, would be a lot grungier, a lot dirtier, but thankfully he is very clean. And whoever had him before me either took care of him, looked after him really well, or just played with him a few times, like, hey, and then it's like, it tossed him over his shoulder and grabbed the real Ninja Turtle action figures and played with those. Regardless, I'm glad that I have him, and I'm glad that he is in such good condition. The next piece I got, this is a weird one. And this is one that is definitely going to be in an episode of Putting Shelves on Shelves because of just how random this is. Some of you may be aware that in the early 2000s, a certain anime series hit the stores and started hitting the, the US with kids battling with tops with the tagline, "Let it rip." And for those of you who actually remember what that is, kudos to you. But Beyblades were very, very popular for a time, or battle tops, I guess would be another name for them. And because it was a popular thing, and regretfully, well, somewhat regretfully, the Ninja Turtles were just willing and ready to just, latch on to any popular thing and just, keep themselves going, they decided to make their own versions of the Beyblades. And here we have Raphael. I think these were called Turbo Bashers. Just gonna real quick do a fact check on myself once I get him on the table. There's my phone. Do 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 do. Mana mana. Do 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 do. Mana mana. Can't finish that song because of copyright. Ooh ooh. Oop, I hit the wrong button. Okay, new tab. Come on. Gotta do this quick. Gotta do this quick because people online are getting antsy. See, Ninja Turtles 2003 line. Do 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 do. Series 7. Blah blah blah. Ninjatronic. Blah blah. Speedies. Ooze. Battle Bikes. Crash 9. Blah blah blah. Elite Commandos. Series 9. Battle Nexus. Ripped Up Turtles. Turbo Bashers. Yes. Okay, so yes, this guy is from a wave called Turbo Bashers, which I now currently have 3 different figures from that set, but hopefully by the time I actually get to doing the Putting Shelves on Shelves episode for that, I will have more than just the 3. Anyway, so that's Raphael from that set, and you would pull the launcher cord right here, and you would make him spin around really fast like that. And as he's spinning, these sai kind of things pop out of the side here, and they would go whap, 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 and smack into the other top. Or that was the theory that they used to try and, turn the turtles into fighting ninja tops. Anyway, that came with the original ripcord, which was the big reason why I picked this up. I wasn't sure if I actually had the Raphael yet, but I was like, even if I don't have him, I will have the ripcord and I'll be able to use the other turbo basher that I have, which unfortunately was just the base when I initially got it. Then I found a shredder at a toy show, I think it was. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll talk about these things during that episode of putting shells on shelves. So we'll put him back on the table, and we move on to the third piece from the 2003 line. Now, this guy is actually from a subset of that line called Ninja Turtles Fast Forward, and he's from a subset of that line where they had like this gimmick where you would squeeze the legs together and they would do an action. And this is the Leonardo from that wave. Thankfully, he has his original sword, which I believe his accessories are pretty dang hard to come by. Unfortunately, he's missing the accessory that goes on his back, which the magnet in his hand right there. See that little shiny piece of metal right there in his palm? Well, you might not be able... There it is. This little shiny piece of metal up here. He would, he would push his legs together like this, and he'd go like this, and reach up, and the magnet would clasp onto something, and he would go, sha, 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 and he would throw whatever weapon it was at the little stand-up plastic villains. Now, this guy was actually the most expensive thing I bought in that store. And for good reason, because the Ninja Turtles Fast Forward action figures are harder to come by than just the regular 2003 series figures. And apparently that's because I think this was towards the end of the 2003 series. Either that or just this series did not do well. Regardless, for some reason the Leonardo is the hardest to get from that set. But thankfully, I have him. Now I won't wind up having to look for him in the future, as I continue to build up my stupidly large collection of toys. I might have a problem. Okay, so moving on from that downer note, we jump ahead from the 2003 series to the 2012 series, where I bought more Turtles. So the big one I'm going to start with is this guy back here that hopefully you haven't been able to see this whole time, but I got the Stretch and Shout Raphael, which basically has a, if you're familiar with the action figure series of the Stretch Screamers, basically the exact same premise. He's got these rubber arms that are just, floppy rubber, and you pull his arms, and as you pull them, it makes him make sounds, like so. Surface time! And the farther you stretch them, there was another Ninja Turtles series of figures from this line where I can't remember right now what exactly they were called, but you would take their arms and pull them back, and they had spring in there, and they would go and then they would say whatever, and the farther and the longer you stretched it, the longer they would hold it out, like so. Yeah! They would do stuff like that. But anyway, I got him, and thankfully he's in good shape for now. I can guarantee the rubber in his arms is going to rot and deteriorate and just give away over the years. But at least for now, I have him, and he is in good shape. So that one I picked up. I think he was the first one from that series I actually picked up off the shelf and was looking at. And then these other three figures I'm about to show you, I found in a side room, because I asked the guy if he had any more Ninja Turtle stuff, and he was like, "No, I'm pretty sure that's about it." He was an older gentleman, so I kind of understand that he forgot that he had more. But in this side room, I found that Space Usagi Yojimbo, and these three green gents right here. Now, for these ones, I'm going to have to delve back into my phone, at least these two. I'm going to have to delve back into my phone and figure out exactly what the line was called that they're from. But this guy is just a loose, accessory-less Turf Lytle from that particular series. Anyway, just give me a couple minutes here, and I will look these two up. So, Be right back. Okay, so while I was at it, I went ahead and looked this guy up. He's actually Triple Strike Leonardo. That's what this wave was called, was the Triple Strike Turtles. Now then, jumping ahead back to the 2012 line to look up those ones. Okay, found them. These two were from the Ninja Turtles Mutations Battle Shell set. Isn't that a mouthful? It's actually, and I quote, according to the website, I quote, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutations Battle Shell Turtles. The naming conventions on this series were getting, for lack of a better term, pretty stupid at that point. But yeah, I already have all four of them, but I was missing, and I believe I still am missing, the shells for the majority of them. Like, I know my Leonardo is missing the shell. I think the Raphael I got had his shell, and he actually had like the whole piece that goes on the back. It's like a big piece of armor and or like some kind of flying doohickey. If I remembered right off the top of my head, I would tell you, but I can't remember right this second what it actually is. But regardless, I picked up these two predominantly because they still had their shells on them, even if they're missing all the rest of their accessories. Oh bloody well. I'm glad to have them in the collection because now that's several less accessories I'm going to have to track down for the other turtles in the future. Okay. So as I was saying, and I just very briefly touched on, I also managed to pick up a Turflytle, which for this figure, it's literally just Michelangelo here, and he would have had like a pair of goggles on his head that had like antenna stuck to him. He would have had a thing of like some weird homemade butterfly wings that was stuck on his back. It was for something he did in the show. I forget exactly why he did it, but you know, he gave himself a cosplay where he was a giant bug for some reason. Thinking on it now, I think I might have Turflytle, this figure, mint on card somewhere. Regardless, I picked him up along with his brothers there, and they were actually very cheap, and I think that's mainly because, well, they're the newer turtles, and, well, they are missing a bunch of accessories. Okay, so that's what I picked up at the first little place that we went to. The next place we went to, I didn't really get anything. I believe... Well, actually, yes, I did. The second place we went to, I picked up a rather substantial piece for my collection, which I'm not sure if I actually am going to wind up keeping these, or if I'm going to, like, just, you know, sell them off piece by piece. But I managed to pick up a full countertop sales box, I think that's what you call it, of Wizards of the Coast, or not Wizards of the Coast, WizKids, HeroClix, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figures, all brand new, unopened, Series 2. Hopefully I have that the right way around, and I don't. But right there, Series 2. And just so y'all can see that I'm not pulling your chain, it is a full box, and I managed to get this for a fairly decent price as well. Personally, I probably would have wanted to spend less on it, but you know, they were there. This was the only box of these that they had on the shelf, and I was like, it's my birthday, I'm gonna buy the thing, so I bought the thing. And yeah, this was the only thing that I bought for myself at that place. I got something for my friend who was with me because, you know, when it's my birthday, I like doing things for other people because, well, it's my birthday, I do what I want. If I want to help you out on my birthday, I help you out on my birthday. That's the kind of guy I am. Even though a lot of people go, hey, why are you buying stuff for me? It's your birthday, I should be buying stuff for you. It's because, my friendo, I am a good guy like that. And I want you to have a good time on my birthday as much as you want me to have a good time on my birthday. ¿Qué pasa? I don't know if I used that properly, but whatever. That's how I roll. So anyway, after we get done at that particular store, we made a trip over to a pet store for my sister. She's a big animal person. Personally, I'm not so much, but, you know, I'm just, you know, I prefer this kind of animal over, like, a dog. But that's a story for another day. So we milled around in there for a bit. By the way, it's been really hot today. I don't know why it's so hot today, other than the fact that it's the 6th of July. We finished up in that store, dredged back out into the heat, and we were, like, dying. It was just that bad. It was in the upper 90s to the hundreds today. And there were points where, while we were driving, the thermostat on my car kept getting thrown off by the humidity, to the point where, at one point, my car said that it was 114 degrees while we were driving. I kid you not. I, unfortunately, was not able to get a picture of that because, well, I was driving at the time. But it was stupid hot today. Had the air conditioner on full blast, blowing right in mine and my friends' faces. And then we had it blowing up across the ceiling so my sister could get ventilation in the back. It was nuts. But regardless, we soldiered on, we made our way through it, and we came out on the other side clean. Mostly. Anyways, excuse me. I had a rather big lunch and I keep burping. So, now moving all this stuff off the table, so I can talk about the few things I got at the last place that we went to, which was something specifically chosen by myself, because since it's my birthday, my friends were like, okay, here's what we're going to do. The one place you wanted to go, which was like a really big flea market here in my home state, they're not open today, so we can either go somewhere else on Friday, or we can either go there on Friday when they are open, or we can go to several places today that the three of us can agree on. And so I was like, okay. And they gave me 2 individual places I could pick, and they each got to pick one place because they are good people like that. I appreciate them very much for what they do, and what they allow me to do. So, the second place I got to choose that we went to is where I found these next 7 items. Now, for these ones, you're probably going to be scratching your head like, wait, why? Why would you buy those? What is this? Well, the first thing I found over in the board games, in this last little thrift shop we hit up, I found a 1999 copy of Mr. Mouth. That's right, that weird little board game where you've got a frog's head going around going, just going around like that, opening his mouth and waiting for you to flick flies in there. There's one problem with it, unfortunately, and this is something I kind of foresaw because as I was looking it over, I saw a little, like, weird crystallized flecks on the side of it. The person who owned this way back when, before they boxed it up and put it away, never to be played again, wound up leaving the C battery inside of it. I don't know how well you can see it, but right up here, along the inside of the mouth, there's still a couple of those crystallized nasties in there. Like right up there near the tip of the tongue. Get that right up in your face. See, right up here? And I'll give you all a quick look at the inside of the battery compartment so you can see. Sorry, I'm trying to get the lighting just so, and then I remember I have my handy dandy flashlight, which works when I squeeze it for some reason. That side. Yeah, see how gnarly and frosty looking that connector point right there is? This is why when you get done with your electronical things, always make sure you take out the batteries before you put them away for the long term, because that will happen every time. Okay, well, no, I shouldn't say every time. You could get lucky and the battery doesn't explode or corrode and it just sits there dead. But the majority of the time, your battery compartment is going to look like that. Kind of like the battery compartment of the turtle tank that I got a while back. I think I made a video on that one. If I did, link's going to be right there, so you can take a look at that as well. But regardless, other than that little thing, it looks to be, for the majority, intact. Like, it's got the hand flipper things, it's got the little fly pieces that you flick at the frog's mouth. I'm going to have to actually go in depth and go over the rest of this thing. And I'll be honest, I didn't go over it and didn't, look through it while I was at the store because we were rushing and trying to get out of there because my sister was getting very overheated. But regardless, I picked up that for the awesome price of only $4. And then this is the point where y'all are going to be questioning me. Give me just a moment. All this talking is making my nose start to run, so I'm going to dip off camera for a second and take care of that. Okay. So like I was saying, this is the portion where y'all are going to be like, huh? But why? I have been building up a small collection of random recorded off television VHS tapes. And well, the main reason for this is I'm trying not to show what's on them because, well, I like to leave surprises like that. But the reason is because nostalgia, really. Also, that's something else y'all are going to be seeing at some point in the future. I'm making a compilation of commercials and just little bits and pieces that I've found off of these old videotapes that I've been collecting over the last year and a half, the last 2 years. And I just want to put them out on the internet and be like, here you go. Finally, after all this time of collecting all these videotapes, I can finally record them onto my computer, chop up the clips, and show the commercials to the world. Stuff that people probably haven't cared about for like 15, 20, 30 years. And I'm going to put it right here on this channel so y'all can watch them with me. Or at your leisure whenever you want to. And I should mention that of these tapes, 5 of them are actually like recorded off TV. This one I grabbed just because it seems interesting to me. It's a video from a company called Videos For You, as evidenced by that big silver sticker that's pointing straight at you currently. And if you didn't already notice by the tag on it, it's the Velveteen Rabbit, at least that's what it's supposed to be. And I'm just curious about this because I've seen several versions of this story, and I actually happen to have a copy of an animated version of it around here somewhere. But I'm just confused by this one. This says approximately 60 minutes, complete with cartoons and upcoming attractions. So I don't know, this one appeals to me. I want to know what's on this tape, and that's the big reason why I picked it up. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Happy birthday to me. And feel free to wish me a happy birthday down in the comments section down below. You don't have to, but I would appreciate it if you did. And speaking of appreciation, I appreciate each and every single one of you who watch my videos, especially you right there watching this video to this point. You are an awesome individual. I've seen that apparently, according to the analytics, most people watch maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 5 at most of my videos. So, for those of you sticking around this long, thank you so very much. And on that note, if you like what you've seen here today, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon to be notified of future uploads once you are subscribed. You'll be glad you did. Feel free to share my videos with your friends. If you think they'll like them, if you're not sure, heck, share it anyway. You could be surprised. And with all of that out of the way, this is your old buddy Oxleymations saying, Cowabunga, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Later.